Hello and welcome to Southeast Ohio Solar Haven once again. How are we doing today? Well, I come back up here with a video because I've been asked a lot of questions about my system, and mainly about the fact that I do what they call a hybrid system, which is GridTied and Offgrid at the same time. And how I control that system, this is where I get a lot of questions at, is right here in what I call the Frankenswitch section. As you can see, I'll give you one up close here. Copper, big knife switch. They're rated at, you might be able to see that, yeah, 100 amp. That's what they're rated for, 100 amp. And how I control this system. And what I do, I have these throw switches wired a certain way to where I can have energy thrown to a solar controller, or as you can see right here, I have marked on this board GTI. It's kind of covered up, but that says GTI 1 and this says GTI-12. Why it says 1-2 I have no clue. It should be 2 probably, or 1. But anyway, whenever I want to switch over to hybrid, basically run off the grid and have GridTied at the same time when I'm, other devices in the house is not connected to the off-grid section. So basically what I do is I take here and flip a switch. This tells me solar. As you can see right here, it says solar. GridTied. So what I do is I just basically pull a switch, say push it down, push it. This one's not connected to anything. It was. I disconnected so I can flip, so I can take and just push the switch down. It's a manual system. Yeah, it could be automated. I could make it automated, but I just don't do it that way because I like to be able to have control of things a little better. Yes, I know people will probably complain about all the wiring exposed. And there's a reason why I have exposed wiring, is because if there's a short somewhere or a wire it's burning or whatever, I'm hoping to be able to smell that, see that, or hear it crackle or whatever. So yeah, it's not ideal in most situations, but for me, I feel safer this way. And each one of them has little breakers on each one to shut power off. I've got breakers at the solar panels too. Sorry about the wire there. But when I flip it up, these wires go into a bigger cable. You see this cable up here. I'll tell you about this cable here in a second. Now I want to take you over to the real stuff. This is technically, this side of the system is technically the off-grid. This is all off-grid because I ran out of room. Now, let's take you over to the good part, where the people were wondering about GridTied. This is the GridTied section. It's all small, simple, easy, compact. Now, as you see, this big wire coming in here. Now this right here, this wire is actually a 4-conductor SOOW cable. That means it has 4 conductors in it. Usually has a black and a green and a white and a red. And I separate those out, like right here is my positive and negative, and then I use my green as positive and my black as a negative. Going to the GridTied inverters, and each GridTied inverter has a cable on it, right here as you can see. It's tied into a single cable, going through the hole here, going into my main breaker panel for CTs to see how much power is being used at the time. And it's a limiter. So basically what it says, okay, you're using all the power you need, so we're going to limit to where you don't feed back to the grid. Once that happens, I might be only using 10 to 20, 30 watts off the grid instead of a couple hundred or a couple thousand. And as you see here, I took these apart. I modified each one of these GridTied inverters because they had a 110 volt plug on them. So I went in and rewired them, and then I ran it over here to another sub panel. Each one of these GridTied inverters have their own dual 15 amp breaker. Now 10 amp is all really is needed, but at the time when I went to buy the breakers, Lowe's, all they had was 15 amp dual breakers. 15 amp will be fine. You don't need to go any higher than that. All you're doing is protecting the wire in from short circuit. So if anything would short out in the side of these and cause something here in the AC, they should technically break or pop or do their job. And then what I did here, I went from the outside of this box into this electric meter. I bought the electric meter and the electric meter box separately. I think the meter cost me like 40 bucks if I remember right. The box, whatever they cost, you can find them cheap, you know, just depends on where you're looking at. And then here's another sub panel that it feeds back into a 30 amp breaker right here. And then there's a 50 amp breaker on this sub panel because it feeds another sub panel over there beside where the off-grid section's at. So yeah, there's two different type of panels going on here. And then, you know, as you see the Wi-Fi, each one of these controllers here, or GridTied inverters, have a Wi-Fi box on them that I can connect to the grid. It's like Shine Monitor or something online. Yes, I got a webcam right there, that way I don't have to walk across the basement and see what's going on. I get lazy sometimes. And then down here, you know, I got a fan that blows up and just keeps them cool all the time. But you know, that's how I do my hybrid system, because you know, this is not running all the time in the winter, and so I needed to find a way to switch it off and on. Right now it's half of it's on because I got this one on. I'm not making that much power because it's later in the day. This one's off. As you can see, it's producing 0 watts because the panels that were connected to that is connected to a charge controller right now that I used a knife switch with to flip it to go off grid, because it's a cloudy, gloomy, rainy day out. That's how I get my extra power, and that's how I switch back and forth for the hybrid. And so bring you back over here again. Comfy couch. I need to sit down. But that's how I do it, you know. Once again, you know, as you can see, the big wires up here, and it goes over across the basement to the other corner. And like I say, like this one right here, it's on solar. If I flip that up, that other inverter would come on for the GridTied. That's how I do it to have a hybrid system. I've been asked questions about it, and I just wanted to let people know that's how I do it, because I can switch back and forth. And say if we have a power outage, well, those GridTied inverters do me no good. They have island protection on them, which they just automatically shut down. That way they don't feed back to the grid. At the same time, I come over here, I can flip all these knife switches over to solar and start running my house off grid when there's a power outage. That way I have power in the house. And that's basically, once again, that's how I do everything on the hybrid part. And today, well, even being cloudy, I did 2.4 kilowatt and 1.4 kilowatt. Not got nothing on these running today. or neither the wind. So in fact, I might be switching the wind completely over to 12 volt, and I might be using this charge controller or a separated system. I don't know yet. So yeah, this one right here might be taken down. Actually, I might be using that out in the building. I get done building now. Have a good charge controller out there. But yeah, thanks for watching again. I hope that helps y'all. If you want to do something like that, it's just an idea. It works. There is some things here I do need to update and upgrade. I do have breakers. I was wanting to change all these out to different breakers because I don't like these Chinesian breakers. In fact, take you over here in my corner spot. There they are. I know they say 42 volt, but I just can't go by that rating sometimes. Sometimes they're rated, I know they're rated that for a reason, but you know, sometimes, I've seen these in 48 and 60 volt systems and not have a problem, so there you go. But yeah, once again, thanks for watching my channel. You know, like I say, click that subscribe button down there. Only hurt once. Like a buddy says, a friend of mine, a YouTuber I know, subscriptions are free, so remember that. But yeah, click down there. Only hurt once. Click like, subscribe, click that bell if you want notifications. Thanks for watching again, guys. I appreciate you. Stay safe. Have fun out there. And don't go stir crazy. Later on, guys.